Okay, a good tavach, everyone. As we come down the mamish finish line of another amazing Masechtas Nazir. It's really amazing that tomorrow we're going to finish Nazir and start Saita. That's really absolutely amazing. Anybody who wants to dedicate Masechtas Saita, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. We are learning the ninth parak with Mishna Gimel and Mishna Dalet, sponsored by the Fisher family, Lili Nishmas Basi Bas Rabbi, Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Peril Bas Ruven, and Neshama Shirav and Aliyah. We also have sponsored Lili Nishmas Avram Yeshaya ben Shmayo Yosef, L'fur Shalem, and Filiyo Moshe Mechayisar, for the schus of Avram ben Yam Benish ben Malki Yudis, by Yoel Klugman and family, for their Parnasa and Atzlacha, by L'fur Shalem, for my mother, Esther Fadel Bas Chana, and Meir ben Chayisar. They should have a L'fur Shalema b'seich Sharcha Yisrael. Now, Perek Tes Mishnah Gimel, Hamoitzi Meis Batchila Mushkev Kedarkai. If, let's say, Yisrael finds he was doing some construction, and he finds a gory find. He finds a dead body. It's the first one in the area, and it's lying buried like a Jew. That means on its back. It's the time of the Gemara with its hands folded on its chest. Nowadays with its hands at its side. Since it's only one mace, you don't have to suspect the graveyard. And therefore, notlo, he could take it out. The es tfusasai. Tfusasai is like tfusasai with a fey. He could take it and the body around it, which absorbed its fluids, and reinter it. Matzah shnayim. If he found two bodies, still he doesn't have to be concerned that it's a graveyard. Noitlon, he could remove them, the es tevusasan, and the body, the earth around it, and reinter them. However, matzah shleisha, if he finds three bodies, then im yesh bein zelazeh me'arba amas v'achmayna, if there is the proper distance of a cemetery of 4 amas to 8 amas in between each body, so it wasn't like a mass grave, but it's like a cemetery, then harizu shchunas kvaros, then this is a cemetery area, and therefore he can't move them. Not only can't he move them, but he has to check 20 amas in every generation, in every direction, which is the way they used to bury. They used to have an area of graves, then a courtyard, then more graves. So he has to check 20 amas in every direction. Now, if he goes 20 amas and he finds another grave, if he finds another grave within 20 amas, so then he can't move it, and he has to check 20 amas again from that grave in every direction. Because he has to be worried that it might be a whole cemetery complex. Because there's an assumption that maybe this is a whole area of a cemetery. Because if he would have only found out one grave isolated, he would have been able to remove it, and the ground around it. Mishnah Dalet tells us, Kol sveik negoim batchila. Any doubt in leprosy, if before the person is established as a Metzayra, is tar. That means actually niskak l'tumah. Before the Kohen pronounces him Tomei. So the case is as follows. We have two people, Reuven and Shimon. One comes before the Kohen with a baheres, a white spot the size of a gris, of a split bean. And one comes, Shimon comes with a white spot the size of a cellar. So they're quarantined to see if they grow. At the end, they both have a spot the size of a cellar. So the one that had the gris initially, which was smaller, and now is a cellar, would be a Matzayri, would be Tameh. But we forgot which one, nobody remembers which one had the smaller amount. So we don't know which one is Tameh. So since they weren't declared Tameh yet, so we say that the suffix is Tar. So since they weren't pronounced yet as a Matzayra, so Kol Sfeik Nidgam Batchila is Tar, actually Nizkek L'Tumah. However, Mishnizkek L'Tumah, here, Reuven and Shimon, one came with a gris, with the size of a bean, and one came with the size of a cellar. And then we locked them up for 7 days, and they both have a cellar .2. So now they're both declared Tameh. The one that's a gris went from a cellar .2 to a cellar .2. That's real expansion. And even the one with a cellar, it went from one cellar to a cellar .2. He's also Tameh. So, Mishniska Klatama. Then, afterwards, they both went from a cellar .2 down to a cellar. So the one that was initially a cellar, and now he's back to a cellar, he would be tar. But the one that was initially a gris, and went to a cellar .2, and now went back to a cellar, he's still tameh, because he's much more than he started. But we don't remember which one was the gris. Right? The one that was originally a cellar and went to a cellar .2 and now is back a cellar would be tar. The one that was originally a gris and went to cellar .2, now he's back a cellar, he's still tameh. Since we don't know which one is the one that was a cellar, they're both tameh. Because since they have a cheskes tameh, they're both tameh. Mishnizkak l'tameh, sveikai tameh, because that's raglayim l'davar. And now we go to a zav, somebody suffering, because after an easy tublat, you don't want to have an easy Mishna Yomis, right? Israel says you got to get your money's worth over here. So what happened over here is somebody saw one issue of ziva, of biblical gonorrhea. If he sees a second issue, then he's going to have to count 7 days. But the din is, with the second issue, since he's not declared yet to be a zav, if there's any way we could say that the second issue happened because of an external reason, like overeating or over drinking or a sudden jump or a sickness, then he's not a zav. So therefore, for the second issue of the zav, b'shiva drachim boitkin es hazav, in 7 ways we examine, actually nizkek laziva, until he has a confirmed second issue, so he's not a confirmed zav, we don't declare him a zav, b'machel, we check if maybe he overate, or he ate things that cause ziva, like eggs and fatty meats, or b'mishta, or he drank aged wine, or overdrank, b'masa, if he carried something heavy, or b'kfisa, if he jumped, or b'chayli, or he had a sudden illness, or b'mara, or he saw a pretty woman, or b'hira, or he thought of something that would have, he had like a wet dream, he thought of something. However, mishniska klaziva, once he saw a second issue, so then there's a raglayim l'davar, then ein bait can I say. Then we don't examine him anymore, because we assume, once he had a second one, that his third issue is ziva. And therefore, einsai, even if he did overeat, or he did jump, usveikai v'shich v'zarai, now the Rav says this is really one case. Or if it's a suffix because the third issue came together with semen. So there's a chance that you could say it was only because of the semen. We don't say that. Because Tmeyin, Rather, we say he's a Zav, and he has to bring a carbon. Why? Shiraglayim Ladavar. Because we assume, since he saw it 2 times, that this 3rd time is also Ziva. And the final case is a Makes Chaveiroi. If, let's say, Chatzkel hits Shmiel Chayim, and Va'amaduhu Lamisa, and Bezdin assesses the blow that Chatzkel gave Shmiel Chayim, and said it was a blow that is worthy to kill Shmiel Chayim. It was a murderous blow. However, the Heikel Mamashahaya, then Shmiel Chayim got better. But La'acha Mikan, afterwards he relapsed, Hichbid, he relapsed, Vameis, and he died. So the Tanit Kama says Chayim. Chatzkel is put to death. Because since we assessed him with a murderous blow, even though Shmiel Chayim got temporarily better, we say that he died from that blow, and therefore Chatzkel was a murderer and he gets executed. Reb Nechemya Mapata. Nechemya says since he got better in the interim, so then we can't execute Chatzkel. Shiraglayim L'David, there's an argument to say that since he got better in the interim, this that he dies now is because of a personal weakness for another reason, and we cannot execute Chatzkel. Mitzvah Hashem, tomorrow we will start with the last Mishna in Nazir and the first Mishna in Saita. We'll start Masechta Saita. We'll look forward to another Mitzvah Hashem exciting daf in Ezel Neshech at 8:30, and if Hashem gives me the Siyata D'Shmaya, a Chayk in Vayakel 2, sponsored by Nachman Chapler. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a wonderful evening.